There's one day in the year where he is guaranteed to have a hefty meal. There's one day in the year where his stomach is set not to complain. There's one day in a year he will eat to his fill so that when the new year begins, his stomach can reminisce upon a heavy feast. There's one day in a year that he knows that hunger shall not be part of his daily lifestyle. There's one day in a year where he knows he will eat a balanced diet. There's one day in a year he knows that his tea will have sugar. There's one day in a year where he will get to feel like a king, a man who dines in a 5-star hotel. He will get the taste of pure tea made from the finest of milk. There's one day in a year where he wouldn't feel inadequate or insufficient because of his tattered clothes. There's one day in a year where he will dress from the finest of wool. There's one day in the year that he looks forward to. Even if he doesn't have a calendar in his room or a watch to tell the time of how this day nearly approaches, there's one day in a year where he is guaranteed to have a full meal. There's one day in a year when nearly every household gets to dine with joy. There's one day in a year that brings him close to the full definition of having all basic needs, food, shelter, and clothing. There is one day in a year. One day in a year that does not only bring him close to food, shelter, and clothing, but one day in a year where he wonders at this Savior, this child that he has never seen grow in his home. Why do his parents celebrate his birth? There's one day in a year he gets to wonder what sort of luck this child brings to the extent they dine, slaughter the fattest of bulls. There's one day in a year that he gets to dine like a king, that he gets close to knowing what it's like to have all 3 basic needs, food, shelter, and clothing. There is one day in a year that this boy wonders why it has to be once. There's one day in a year where he shall not feel inferior because of tattered clothes, but he shall wear the finest of silk clothing. There is one day in a year he is surely exempted from grazing the cows. There's one day in the year, just one, not 2, not 3, not 4, not funerals or wedding feast, but just one particular day in the year where he gets to dine like a king. Christmas is no little matter where he comes from. Christmas is more than celebrating a child who is not from his home. Christmas is that particular day where all his worries are forgotten. Christmas is the day where chauvinism doesn't exist for him. You'll find him next to the kitchen fire. Christmas, this one day in a year that makes the difference for him. Christmas, 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 the one day in a year.